Hello and welcome to Game Day from the UK, a Miami Heat live pre-game streaming show, here to preview tonight's game against the Golden State Warriors. We have got an absolute squad here with us tonight. Look at this team, it's incredible. Let's introduce the cast. Ollie Rahimi, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good, mate. I'm looking forward to it. Back-to-back Heat basketball. We won last night. Feeling good. Glad to be here.
Yes, absolutely. 3 a.m. back-to-back tips should be just illegal. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But here we are. We've got Heat culture running through our veins, even here in the UK. James Stone, how are you, sir?
Fantastic, thanks, Dan. My alarm sadly didn't go off this morning, so I slept through the game. But fingers crossed for tonight.
Yeah, good better luck tonight, mate. Good luck tonight. Glenn Smith, how are you, sir?
Good evening. Doing well, thank you very much. Looks like Sam and myself are having a battle for the worst lighting tonight. But excited to be here nonetheless.
Well, that's good. We can see you, we can hear you. This is just the best thing.
Miracles do happen, eh?
So yeah, don't worry, that's good stuff. Sam Post, how are you, my man?
I'm good, thank you. Caught a bit of a game last night, and the lighting is terrible. But
So again, look, don't worry about backdrops. I know. Me and Ollie, we've sort of raised the standard for what should be in your backgrounds and all the rest of it in recent times. But look, we're all back in the UK today. It doesn't matter what your lighting looks like. You're all here, and we love you for it. So, guys, as Ollie has already alluded to, a great win last night, a real bounce back performance. And Ollie, I'll start with you. We've said it maybe once or twice, but this really did feel like a proper Miami Heat performance, a real find your identity performance, because across the board it was exceptional.
Yeah, it was. The thing that I liked a lot was just looking at the stat sheet from the 5 starters, is that the scoring was so evenly spread. Obviously, I know to start the season we've had a lot of scoring from Tyler, Jimmy, Bam, and Kyle have been quite quiet, but I think it was just that even spread, which is, as you said, which is just what Heat basketball is all about. It's, sharing the wealth, sharing the love between everyone, and all of the starters being in double figures. I think they all got in the teens, didn't they? It was a bit of a breakthrough night for Kyle, maybe. Caleb's definitely his best night this season. So yeah, it was just really satisfying. It was just a really good win, and then it was fairly comfortable in the end, which makes a lovely change from the first few games of the season. And yeah, hopefully a little bit of a platform that we can build on. Obviously, tonight's going to be difficult against the reigning champions, but yeah, it's a platform, and first away, a West Coast trip of the season, and yeah, it's started out all right.
Yeah, and as you say, every starter in double figures. No one went off, but everybody done their job. Everyone bought in and done a great a performance. But it really felt like one of those performances that we saw from last season, where when Heat were going on a bit of a stretch and we ended up obviously as that 1 seed. But it felt like one of those performances with everybody on the same page. Everybody seemed locked in. Everyone seemed to get the assignment, and it was important to get that bounce back win against a unbeaten until then Portland side. James, very quickly running through the scorers. Yeah, Bam, 18 points. Hero, 14. Caleb, 16. Kyle, 17. Jimmy, 17. Max, 16. But Caleb Martin, or as we're calling it at the moment, Caleb for president, as Jimmy Butler has said. I mean, arguably, in my opinion, I know we always go to this latest is greatest quite, tone very quickly. But for me, that stood out as arguably his best game of the season. Let's just quickly read the stat sheet. And the stats don't even tell everything, because his overall performance was exceptional. But Caleb Martin, 29 minutes, 16 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 steals, 7 from 8 from the field, 2 from 2 from 3, a plus 19. For the guy who everybody was questioning should be in this number 4 or whatever, that's, as I said, his best game in a Heat shirt.
I think it's his best game this season. I remember last season he had a game where I think he scored 27, 28 points, which is probably offensively his best game in a Heat shirt, but certainly so far for this season, that was his strongest. I was just reading some stats about him today because I didn't catch the full game. So I watched the condensed highlights today. And obviously, it only shows you the scoring recaps. It doesn't show you all the blocks, defenses, stops, and all that. But he was 1 for 7 defending Grant and Lillard, which are their 2 primary scorers. So if he's defending 1 for 7 against them, then that's the most important thing for me, because what PJ brought to that position was defense. He held down any 1 through 5. This is what people have been skeptical. Can Caleb do it? Now, obviously, Lillard and Grant are much smaller than the likes of Nurkic, but he did go up against Nurkic at times. But Nurkic isn't the offensive threat that Lillard and Grant are. So if he can continue to get stops, make things difficult, restrict teams' key scorers, then he just needs to remain consistent and do it every week or every day as it is.
I mean, really good, because I've listed off a bunch of box scores there, and also just his overall performance in the game, which was really good. And you come at me with a really, really important one that probably highlights an overall sort of balance of his game that I hadn't highlighted there, which is really, really good. And that is a really important factor, because you need your number 4 to be a defensively equipped player, and those sort of stats back that up, as well as what he did offensively. So a really good point there, mate. Another player that I think we haven't really spoke about much, Glenn, so far, but God, does he deserve some praise. Max Strus, again, 16 points last night to back up his 22 points, I think, the game before. He's already had I think he's already had 2 plus 20 point games. We was talking about Victor Oladipo as 6th man of the year. Well, Max is putting this shift in, isn't he? I mean, he's in the running already, isn't he?
Well, as we talked about last time I was on, about the fact that he has taken to that role, coming off the bench, being that scorer and leader for the second team, like no one. Well, like Tyler Hero did last year, to be frank. He's an amazing player. His grit and determination, and again, seeing stuff of him in behind the scenes and everything is fantastic. And you can tell what he really brings to the team. And again, it's just another positive and another congratulations to Miami for pulling through guys like this who just seem to be off the radar. No one really fancies them. The same thing happened, ironically, with Caleb Martin. No one was really in the market for him. And obviously these undrafted guys, people like Max make the difference. And again, last night you had Jimmy talk about how good Caleb has been. And at the same time, he's talked many, many times about how good Max has been. And when you have a player of that caliber speaking so highly and joking ironically about you as well, you can tell that you're so high up in their ratings, because not only are they giving you these compliments, they're also taking the mick as they go. And that's how you know that you've not only impressed them, you've earned their respect. And for someone to come off of undrafted, come into the team and pick that 6-man role up this year, I'm chuffed with him, and you couldn't really ask for any better.
Yeah, really, really well put. And that is right as well, because, you know, top players, all-star players, you've got to earn their respect. And for Max to come in and get Jimmy's respect the way he does, because he is really a very complete player. Yes, he can hold his own defensively. We know that he can be better in that department, but he's athletic. His IQ has improved. Obviously, we know his shooting prowess is exceptional. So he's a real key to Miami's arsenal at the moment. And yeah, I'm absolutely here for yet another season of the Jimmy Butler and Max Strus show. Already we've seen some of it on Instagram with the thanks for helping me up, bro. Stop tagging me. I don't like you. You know, just I love all of that. I'm absolutely here for it. So good point there, mate, to bring up. One guy we have to talk about, Sam, is Kyle Lowry. Again, another bounce back game. And when you see Cole playing this way, this is I phrased it as, this is the Kyle Lowry that we ordered from Toronto, because when he is that impactful, there's nobody else I want in the league other than him, because he fits that system so well. The inconsistency has been a problem, but there's no reasoning as to why that if Lowry plays well, the Miami Heat play well, don't they?
I think he's really a floor raiser for us. You know, if he's on the court and if he's healthy, if he's playing his best basketball, he's the perfect point guard for our system. You might see Tyler Hero take over some ball handling responsibilities. I saw a stat the other day, he's one of the most efficient pick and roll ball handlers in the league. But Kyle Lowry is the guy that you want as a point of attack defender as well. He just does it on both ends of the floor, and that's what makes him so important for us. I feel like as the season goes on, we might see him get load managed more. We need him healthy for the playoffs, and clearly, even though he's put in the work conditioning himself this offseason, he's not fully 100% to be playing 82 games, 30 minutes a night. So although like he's excellent for us and he fits well, I don't expect to see too much from him in the regular season.
Yep, no, that is a fair point. And this is actually one of my questions coming on to the game to preview against Golden State. But whilst we're on that subject, Ollie, Gabe Vincent again showed last night how important his role can be. I think I can't remember how much he scored, but I know he racked up 9 assists last night. I think it was 9 assists, which was a team high from the bench. He's very important again. And with that, what Sam just alluded to there, that Cole on his day can be exceptionally impactful and a real floor raiser. With load management that will inevitably come into it because of his age, Gabe Vincent is. We've said it last year, but for a backup point guard, I mean, there's an argument that even from what his performances that we've seen, even he should be pushing for a starting place. Do you think that is fair?
I do and I don't. I do in the sense that it's merited because he has been so good. But then on the other hand, he is so molded into that system and molded into that role of coming off the bench. And I know obviously he stepped in last year when we had all the injuries and he played phenomenally well when he did. But ultimately, this will be Kyle Lowry's team when he wants it to be. As Sam just mentioned, the inconsistency for Kyle is the issue. But luckily, we're in a position that, not a lot of teams are, where we can almost kind of forget about the regular season with sole focus on the playoffs because, Miami are a team that historically make the playoffs fairly consistently. Hopefully, we'll be doing it again this year, so we can put most of our effort onto the playoffs. And I think with the load management, we will definitely see Gabe starting a good number of games this season, but his development has just been astronomical. And, as Glenn alluded to a minute ago, this continuous development that the front office finds, they find these guys and then they develop them along from arguably, you look at them on a two-way and you think, okay, I can take him or leave him kind of thing. And then give it 6, 9, 12 months, he's a real key piece of the rotation. So it's testament to Gabe, it's testament to the front office and the development team. But yeah, I don't think we'll see him starting that much other than maybe for load management, but he would definitely deserve it. And I think if he was to go anywhere else, he would probably be a starter.
Yeah, no, I think that's the best way to put it. Yeah, I think that we will see. Carl is our QB1. He's one of the leaders. It's not only about what he can produce on court, but also how he organises the team that a lot of people don't see. That is a real orchestrator and conductor of how this team works. So yeah, we will only see, I think, Gabe starting in load management situations. But hopefully that answers your question, Danny. Great to have Danny in the comments. Won't be long before we have Danny back on the streams. A little bit under the weather at the moment, Danny. I did speak to him today, but great to have you here, and I can't wait to have you back on the show, my man. So get well soon. James, let's get on to the Golden State game. Their last game, they were blown out by the Phoenix Suns, 134 to 105, which was very eye-raising because the Warriors don't lose much, let alone get blown out like that much. Miami Heat, yes, we're on a back-to-back. They've had an extra day's rest. But with last night's performance being so complete, like we just spoke about, it wasn't that one player went off. We didn't win this because Jimmy Butler went for 40 points. This wasn't like a Dame Lillard type Portland win where he's just been unstoppable. The whole team locked in, which is why we're so happy as fans. And that will radiate through the team. So that he can go into this game, despite being on the second night of a back-to-back, with real confidence they can cause an upset here, if you like.
Yeah, I think they can. It's a back-to-back, but this early in the season, you'd like to think it doesn't have that much of an impact on their stamina and their performance. When you're 60 or 70 games into the season and you do a back-to-back on the West Coast, then yeah, you're going to see some impact. But this early in the season, these are professional athletes, so it shouldn't be affecting them that much. They'll take the confidence, they'll take the adrenaline into tonight from last night's win, which is good. If they can continue to shoot as consistently as they did last night, then they've got a good chance against Golden State. This will be an interesting game because Golden State are a shooting team. Yes, they are traditionally a good defensive team, but they're not an overly big team, which is where Miami has suffered this season. We've not marked up well against bigger players, bigger teams. So I'll let Green shoot all night. No concerns with him whatsoever. He just isn't an offensive threat. We all know who the threats are at Golden State with Clay and Steph. So I think this is another game where Caleb could prove his worth because being a good perimeter defender against two of the best perimeter shooters in the game, it's a make or break game for him, really. This is the one where he could prove all the remaining doubters wrong, that he is the right man to fit in that number 4 role. Because I don't think there's a harder test in the league against perimeter shooters than there is tonight. So let's hope they take the confidence from last night and just shoot as consistently as they did last night.
Yep. Ollie, you've come off mute. You want to?
Yeah, I just want to say Draymond Green. I know you said he's not an offensive threat, but he is a massive threat, but obviously mainly towards his own teammates.
Nicely put in, mate. Very nicely put in. Yes. That's brilliant. Right, moving on. Great points again, James. Thank you very much. Now I've got sort of two sides to the coin here. So, Glenn, I'm going to ask you to start with this one, mainly to do with depth and pros and cons. Now we know that Miami Heat for several seasons now have been always regarded to have supreme depth and can do a role all the way through to 9th, 10th man. We've seen it last night. We've seen it already this season. With the Warriors, their bench unit hasn't performed well. We've got Wiseman, Kuminga, and Paul, who rate in the bottom 10 in plus minus across the NBA. Do you think then, in that sense, with Miami's bench unit really had been criticised up to this point, and last night really coming off of a very strong performance with their bench, do you think that the depth could have a slight in Miami's favour tonight?
I think it could. Yeah, you mentioned players there that draft-wise have been disappointing for the Warriors. With Jordan Poole, as Ollie's already alluded to, is probably just scared to be around his own teammates. And the depth of the Heat is fantastic. I think the key point I've spoken on a couple of times, and it'll be interesting to see tonight, especially against a big man like Wiseman. And we saw it last night with Jovic getting some minutes. Is I'd love to see him get some more. Dwayne Dedmon, for me, is AKA Mr. Foul, AKA Mr. Skyhook, has been disappointing this season. And I'd like to see Jovic as a young guy. You can put him out there in that unit and not have to worry about his scoring ability as much when you've got people like Strus around him and everything and like that. But at the same time, he offers you that 3-point offensive threat. So when you're playing a team of 3-point shooters, there's nothing better than having a man at number 5 or number 4, wherever you decide to put him, that can also stretch the floor and put the 3 down. So their bench has been disappointing and lackluster for this so far this season, and I do think it's our best chance to capitalize. We might lose and stay even on starting 5 to starting 5, but when the bench unit come off, I do expect that to be where we make a real bit of damage tonight.
Yep, no, that's a very good point. And I'll just highlighting on Nikola Jovic, our first viewing of him last night, and without a doubt, the team looked good with him. I know he got picked up 4 early fouls in 5 minutes, but then when the game was sort of all done and dusted, he came back in and he contributed. He looked a hell of a lot better than Dwayne Dedmon minutes, and that's the main thing, because until Yurtseven comes back, we don't know where we're going to sit with Yurt in terms of, is he going to be the backup centre, etc. But it's nice to know that we've got a player there that is not afraid, can come straight in, can plug in to give you some useful minutes, and has got that basketball IQ. That's something that Dwayne Dedmon doesn't really show us. So interesting and promising start for Nikola Jovic. Sam, speaking again about the Warriors, they rank dead last in opposition fast break points per game. They are 3rd worst in, can't read my writing here, points in the paint. They are 3rd last in defensive rating. They are 3rd last in offensive field goal percentage, and they are bottom 3 in field goal attempts per game. So with all of that, now there are a lot of things that they are better than Miami at. We know this, but with that all said and done, do you think then that with Miami really sort of struggling in terms of, apart from Gabe Vincent aside, haven't really got much in terms of a shot creation or anything, any sort of creator, obviously to help with the second unit. Do you think that with all of that, what I've just said, to help capitalize on that, we might need to see some heavy starter minutes tonight? And do you think with obviously that big win last night, we managed to rest a lot of them, that fundamentally that was what was in Spo's mind, and that could really help tonight? Do you feel like we're going to see big Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero minutes tonight?
Absolutely, yeah. I think especially with Tyler Hero, I think I mentioned earlier, he's one of the better pick and roll ball handlers in the league in terms of efficiency. We need that tonight. When it comes to points in the paint, Bam's been more aggressive. That's what we've all wanted to see for a long time now. And if the shots aren't falling now, they'll fall later in the season. So I expect him to have a big night. In a similar kind of vein, they've had a slow start, but regression to the mean, or in this case, the opposite, they're going to get better. They're going to go back to the team that we all know that they are. I don't expect the deficiencies that they showed against Phoenix to be exactly the same against us. I think tonight we're going to have our work cut out, especially, defensively. We know they're tough, they're versatile, and their shooting should be lights out again. For us, the main thing I think is last night, 40% of our shots were threes. If we can do that again and make them at a similar rate, then I don't think they really have an answer for us on the perimeter. We had a 77.3% assist rate. We need to share the ball more. I think playing a lot of ISO ball when we don't really have, as you said, like a real shot creator isn't an amazing way to win basketball games. But I do expect to see the ball in Tyler Hero and Jimmy Butler's hands a lot.
Really well put, mate. I like it. I like the analysis tonight has been fantastic. I must say, I'm very proud of us all, especially after a late night. And even I got to sleep at 5:30 something this morning, and I've racked up a lot of stats. I hope you're very proud of me as well. There, that's not really what I usually do. So I'm going to pat myself on the back for bringing up some stats. Anyway, guys, there's a lot of us on tonight. I don't want to do another round of questions, so we're going to get on with some predictions. Look, the Heat tonight. 2 and 3 now. Second night of a back-to-back, as we know. Warriors 2 and 2. They've had some ups and downs as well. I think both teams are quite similar in the fact that really they're probably more built for a postseason run. I think that especially the Warriors, I think they don't really care where they seed. I think if they finish 4th or 5th, they're not really going to care because we know that team is really going to step up in the postseason. So in a way, might be good that we're playing them relatively early, especially away from home. Heat are -6 on the spread tonight. I think that's doable. Tonight, Ollie, let's start with you. What's going to happen? Who's going to win? And by how many?
Well, firstly, I think it's a really good precursor to the 2023 NBA Finals. So I don't know. I think tonight, if I'm honest, if we lose, we lose. It's fine. It's the Warriors. I'm not gonna tear my hair out about it. The realist in me is saying probably the Warriors by 6 or 7, but obviously the Heat culture running through my veins is saying Heat by 15.
Oh, I love it. What a swing. Love that. James, what are you thinking, mate?
Very similar to Ollie. It's the Golden State Warriors. So as poor they have been in some games, you can't ever write them off. But I think Miami are a very similar team to Phoenix. The way they're set up, the way they play, the type of players they have. There was the Hero Booker comparison for so much of the start of his career. The aging point guard, the maybe underperforming, underscoring center, where and there's a lot of depth on their bench for shooters. So I do think we've got a really good chance. The key is, as it's always going to be, is contain Steph, and you've got a chance. I'm predicting, because he hasn't had what I would say is a good game this year, is a big performance from Jimmy Butler, over 30 points, and I think Miami will sneak it by a couple of points.
Like it, yes. And as you say, look, Steph Curry is averaging 30.3 points a game. Hasn't even really got into his stride properly yet. You're not going to stop him, but as you used the right word there, containing him will be the key to this win tonight if it does come about. So Heat by a couple. Ollie's gone with probably Warriors, but actually Heat by 15. Glenn, what do you think?
Well, I don't quite have the illicit substances in my veins that Ollie Rahimi has, but I'm going with I'd like to see a solid team performance again tonight. At the end of the day, if we came off the books tonight with a similar sort of stat sheet with, 5 or 6 guys in double digits, sharing the rock and making some decent shots, if you come away and it's a tight game, then it still looks positive for later down in the season. I'm going to go for a Heat win by 2 or 3 points. Keep it nice and skinny. None of that. I've got Heat veins, but not that deep. Not that deep, I'm afraid. So.
Love it, absolutely love it, mate. So we're still all Heat here. This is incredible. Sam, Post, what do you think tonight, mate?
I think the most important thing is the rebounds, and we're 2-0 when we out rebound teams this season. I mean, Golden State are a good rebound team, but that's really crucial for us. We need Bam to have a big night. We need Keller Martin to show what he did last night. 4 offensive rebounds is amazing. If we can stick to the same formula as last night, I'm going to say Heat win by 5.
Well, guys, that's astounding. As I think on these streams, and we've been doing these for 2 years now, I think I've only ever predicted a Heat loss. Well, not predicted, but my prediction for being a Heat loss, I think I've done that maybe twice in 2 years. As I was driving home tonight, I was thinking, this is going to be the third time. We're not going to win tonight. But you guys have turned me. I can't be the only one as the host and the creator of this platform to be the only one in my team to say, the Heat aren't winning. So fuck it, Heat by 10. So there we go, guys. Here we go. Second night of a back-to-back. Who cares? We'll actually, no, all seriousness, I think it will be actually a very good game. I think it'll be a very tight game. A really exciting one. It's always an exciting time when you get to play the Warriors. But yeah, let's go for it. Let's do it. Let's be brave. Heat win across the board. A sweep from the Miami Heat UK team. Love that. Guys, 3 a.m. tip again. Tonight, back-to-back 3 a.m. tips. But of course, we will be there. Follow us at the Miami Heat UK for in-game comms. Subscribe to Miami Heat UK TV. We will be back, I want to say, Saturday night against the Kings. You know me, I never know. But let's enjoy tonight's game first. Thanks very much for subscribing, for watching. Enjoy the game, guys. Let's go Heat.